This, everybody, is the California Bay Laurel fruit, and this fruit is very interesting because it is related to not just bay laurel, where we get bay leaves, but it's also related to avocados. And as you can see, if you get really up in there, nice and close in there, you can see that it doesn't really look that much like an avocado, honestly. Some people say it does. So it's supposed to have some similarities between bay leaves and avocados, which I will explore in this episode, but probably the most popular way that this is used is that the seed inside of it can be used to make either coffee or chocolate alternative. And not just that it's supposed to taste like those things, but it also has a stimulant inside of it that is similar to caffeine. So today, everybody, we're going to explore everything with this thing. We'll see how much the fruit is like an avocado, we'll see how much the leaves are like a bay leaf, and we will see how much the seeds inside are like coffee. Before we get rolling, there are two things that I want to bring up. First, some people out there are sensitive to avocados. Avocados and things related to avocados contain certain compounds that are toxic to some people. So because of that, I'm just gonna put a warning right now, is that there's not like a ton of information about this sort of thing, okay? People use the nuts quite a bit, but using the leaves and using the fruit, I don't see so much about that. So there might be more of those compounds in here. So I'd say, be careful if you're gonna be doing any of this stuff yourself. If you get sick, not my fault, okay? Second thing is that these were actually sent to me by Brian over at raindanceseeds.com. So Brian, thank you so much. So for anyone out there watching who grows plants, go to raindanceseeds.com to see what Brian has available. So California Bay Laurel is really interesting because it's related to a lot of plants that you might not realize. So not just avocados and not just bay leaves, but also cinnamon, camphor, spice bush. Some really pungent characters are related to this. And avocados, you wouldn't really think as fitting in with that world. It's not really like an aromatic thing. However, avocado leaves, some people do use them as a spice or to make teas out of, so it's maybe not like such an odd thing. I've heard that if you get these at just the right stage, it's very similar to avocados, and I'm hoping that it is. You know, to find a good one of these, you want it to be not underripe, because if you have them underripe, it's supposed to be very bitter, and if you have them overripe, they taste bad. These I think might be just right because they are soft and they don't seem to have rotted yet. And out of the outside it doesn't look so much like an avocado, but when you cut it open, as you can see here, it does look like an avocado in there. So I'm gonna dig out a little bit of the flesh here and try it. I'm not sure if the skin is going to be good or not, so first I'll just try the flesh. That tastes like if you took an avocado and mixed it with grapefruit rind. It's got a bitterness to it that is not terrible, but not great. That one was like pretty soft and wrinkly and it still tasted bitter, so I'm not sure what kind of magic you have to do to get one just right. My guess is that these are not going to get any better than that. And as for the skin's not bad. Actually, the skin has a little bit of an herbal taste to it. A little like, like a little oregano flavor. So I dare say, I actually like it better with the skin on it. So that's interesting. And it is fatty tasting. It does have like that nice rich flavor that avocado has, but mixed with grapefruit rind. It's not like so super bitter that I think that this is not useful whatsoever, but I think something needs to be done with it to kind of reduce that bitterness. I have an idea though. Since we're talking about things that are related to the California Bay Laurel, here's another one, the ankalac. So ankalac is a plant that grows on the island of Borneo. Produces a little pink fruit with a little green cap on it that looks a little like a wizard hat. People don't usually eat them just like straight out of hand. In order to make them have a better flavor and a better texture, first they are dunked into hot water. So you put them in hot water for like 5 minutes and then you eat them. So I wonder if, that process works for the ankylak. Why not something else related to the ankylak? We'll try it with this. I have absolutely no idea if this is going to do anything at all, but I put this in here for about 5 minutes. That changed things. It doesn't taste like it did before. It is softer. It did help with the texture of it, but the flavor, it's still bitter. It still has a bitterness to it, but now it's like more like the bitterness that you get from like a green olive. Kind of reminds me of an olive. It's rich and bitter like an olive can be. And it's also more herbal tasting. I wonder if maybe the flavor of the skin got into the fruit a little bit more, but I wouldn't say it's like really like that much better. It still needs some work. Just a very quick announcement about the fruit hunting tours that I'm doing. This November 2026, I'm going to be doing a fruit hunting tour in Ecuador. So we're going to start in Quito in the Andes Mountains, and we're going to work our way down to the Amazon rainforest. All along the way, we're going to be stopping at markets, we're going to be doing cooking classes, we're going to go on like nature walks and stuff. It's going to be good. And apparently other people think it's going to be good too. In fact, the first set of dates for this sold out immediately just to people who did tours in the past. They get the first shot at things. I made a second tour. I posted the information about that to the mailing list. Sold out almost immediately. So I created a third and final tour. So if you are interested in attending this tour, now is a good time to hop on it because these things are going fast. If you are not able to make it, or if you're not sure if you want to do it, but want to do it maybe in the future, I would highly recommend signing up for the mailing list. If you're interested, check it out, information down below, and yeah, I'm excited about this one. This is going to be really, really cool. Now, before we move on, I'm sure you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Can you use these to make guacamole? You're not thinking that. Well, we're gonna find out anyway. So I took about 10 California Bay Laurel fruits, stripped out all the bits that looked like they were edible, nothing that was turning brown. I cut up a tiny little bit of onion, a tiny little bit of lemon. Sorry, I don't have a lime. Put a little bit of salt in there, and here's what we got. There's not a lot there, but there should be just enough to make one taco. Is this a good idea? Very bitter. It's not an awful taste, but avocados are not bitter. So the fact that these are bitter makes me think that I probably shouldn't have just done that. Maybe, if I had a tree of these and was certain that I could eat these, which I am not, I would mix it into a guacamole to kind of add a little extra layer of flavor to it. And because I put lemon in here, it kind of works with that bitterness. The bitterness is kind of a citrusy bitterness. So they kind of work together. So it's not terrible, but I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, good. The unfortunately placed pimple is gone, everybody. Didn't notice that when I was filming. I noticed it afterwards. But anyway, it is another day, and it is time to talk about bay leaves. I'm going to talk about regular bay leaves, bay laurel leaves, which I believe are from the Mediterranean, as well as the California bay leaves, which are the leaf of the fruit that I just talked about earlier in this episode, these are closely related. They are in the laurel family, the Lauraceae family, so close relatives. Although these are in the same family, they're actually in different genuses. Genera. But there are other kinds of bay leaves out there. There are Indian bay leaves. Indian bay leaves are also in the same family, but they are in another genus as well. The same genus as cinnamon leaves. Yeah, you can use the leaves of the cinnamon tree as well as the bark. And I have one more, Indonesian bay leaves. Indonesian bay leaves are actually not related to laurels. It's not in the laurel family. No, this is actually closer in relation to cloves. It is in the same genus as cloves because this is a syzygium. So syzygiums, I've talked about a lot of them on this channel. Things like the water apple, wax apple, Malay apple, rose apple. In English, they often are referred to as apples, but they are not related to apples. What are they related to? Indonesian bay leaves. Okay, so I'm kind of curious about these because I've used all of these independent of one another in different recipes that call specifically for an Indonesian bay leaf or a regular bay leaf, but I've never really tried them like on their own. You know, bay leaves impart a flavor, but honestly, I don't really know so much what the flavor of bay leaves are, like just having them on their own. So in order to find out just how these compare from one another, I'm going to do a little experiment. I have taken roughly an equal amount of each one of these leaves. I placed them inside a rice bowl, and I added some boiling water on top of it so it can infuse into that water. I let it sit for about an hour, so I'm going to compare 4 different bay leaves and also the cinnamon leaves, because I'm kind of curious how those compare to the others. And yes, I do have a lot of free time on my hands. Okay, let's do it. So first up, the Mediterranean bay leaves. This is the typical bay leaves that you would find at a grocery store, and the smell of it is like bay leaves. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe bay leaves, isn't it? I should have thought about this before I started this experiment, but it's kind of like a grassy, slightly piney kind of herbal smell. Maybe slightly citrusy. That certainly imparted a flavor into that water. It has all of the notes that I mentioned in the smell, but I'm also picking up like a little bit of like a peppery, resiny kind of taste in there. It's good. Next, the main character in this episode, the California bay laurel. This smells very similar to regular bay leaves. This one is maybe not quite as strong as the first one, but it's also been sitting in my cupboard for like 2 years, so I don't know how fresh these are. The flavor is similar, but different. Maybe a little bit more cinnamony, but you could totally use that in place of a regular bay leaf and it would work. It would be like a little different, but it would certainly serve the purpose of a bay leaf. Next, the Indian bay leaf. So I have purchased Indian bay leaves in the past. I have some mixed opinions about them being used in place of regular bay leaves. It smells similar but weaker. I'd say that that is one further step in the direction that this has been going. You know, it's less piney, more cinnamony, but also does kind of hit the same sort of notes. It is much weaker though. I'm not sure if it's weaker because this is an Indian bay leaf or if it's older or what, but the leaves of the Indian bay leaf are bigger, and I have noticed using these in the past that I need to put more of them in my dish in order to get that flavor in there. So it works, but you gotta overcompensate because they are weaker. Now for something completely different, the Indonesian bay leaf, something that is not related to the others at all. Different smelling. I'd say it is more like the Mediterranean one, where it has an herbal smell. Honestly, this is the weakest one so far. It might be because of the particular product that I'm using, or maybe it's expired. It is expired, so that might be why. This is over a year expired. So that might be why. Maybe it's not as pungent as it should be. I was expecting this to have a flavor like cloves, because it is in the same genus as cloves, and I've crushed up a clove leaf in the past and smelled it, and it smells like cloves. This, I'm not getting that. I'm just getting kind of like a mild herbal leafy taste. Might just be the ones that I have. And finally, cinnamon leaves. So cinnamon leaves are, as I said, in the same family as bay laurel, but these are not typically used as a bay leaf. This smells like cinnamon and cloves. And it tastes like cinnamon and cloves. That's actually quite good. I would brew this as a tea and drink it, or make like an infusion in some water and drink it, because that's quite nice. I don't know if it's a great idea to have a ton of this. Maybe it'll give you the runs. I don't know. It is a product that you can buy. I think most typically people use it for medicinal benefits. It might be for like upset stomachs, if I remember correctly. It is interesting to have this in this kind of progression, because I would say this is similar to the Indian bay leaf. It is less similar than the others. I think progressively it's getting more in the direction of an aromatic wood sort of flavor and further away from a piney herbal flavor as I've gone on, with the Indonesian bay leaf as an exception. And I would say that this one is far enough along where you wouldn't want to use it in place of a Mediterranean bay leaf, but you could use it in place of an Indian bay leaf. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the California bay laurel seeds. The California bay laurel seeds are used to make either a chocolate or coffee alternative. And in order to do that, you don't just use the seeds as they are, you need to roast them. So I put them in the oven at 350 degrees for about an hour. And then I took them out, I let them cool down, and then I cracked them open. And inside it looks like this. This actually looks like a little piece of chocolate. It's got a little sheen to it, definitely has some oil content in there. Seems a little shinier than a coffee bean would be. So that's curious. Let's take a little nibble. It's maybe a little bit like taking a bite out of a roasted coffee bean. It's got that kind of roastiness to it, but not the right flavor. The flavor in here is maybe a little bit like a burned popcorn kernel. And in the background is this flavor that I recognize, but I don't really know how to describe it. It's the flavor that exists in red palm oil. It's something kind of nutty and maybe a little bit fruity in a way. Yeah, it's a curious flavor. I had trouble describing the flavor when I had red palm oil for the first time, and I'm having trouble describing it now. Like this, it has some similarities to coffee, but not quite hitting the mark. So let's try brewing it. So I threw these in a coffee grinder and ground them up. And what I noticed right away is that there is a lot more oil in it. So it made kind of like a greasy paste when I put it in there. Regardless, I put these in my knockoff Chemex and added some hot water to it to brew. Not so surprisingly, it came out very, very light. It was not coffee. It did not look like coffee. It looked maybe more like tea. Yeah, this is not the robust beverage that I was hoping to find. So what I did to try to extract a little bit more flavor out of these, I dump them just straight into the water and I let it sit there for 5 minutes. It is darker, but still not quite right. Besides the coloring of it, it's also rather particulate in there. There's some like grit floating around in there. Maybe it would be better if I filtered this with a paper coffee filter instead of a metal one. Also, it has a little bit of a greasy look to it. That's fun. It doesn't smell like coffee. That is surprising. It doesn't taste like coffee either, but it does taste a little bit like chocolate. Honestly, after smelling it and tasting the bean itself, I was not expecting this to taste like chocolate, but it does. It has the roastiness, the nuttiness, and also like a little bit of the, you know, like how chocolate has like almost like a fermented fruit taste, like a little bit of like a wine-ish kind of flavor in there. It's got a bit of that. Surprisingly, because it's not fermented whatsoever, but it does have like a little bit of that tartness that you get from some chocolate. I wouldn't say this is like drinking a cup of cocoa. It's quite thin, but it is a little bit like having cocoa tea. Like if you make tea with the shell around the cocoa bean, it's more like a tea that is flavored with chocolate rather than a chocolate drink. I think it might be more like a hot chocolate and less like a chocolate tea if I add some sugar and some milk to this. So let's do that. It's a little bit pale looking, but kind of like a hot chocolate, I guess. Honestly, I think I like it without the milk in it. Maybe the sugar is a good idea, but the milk cuts that flavor. Maybe if you were to make more of a concentrate with this, that would be a good idea. But with how I did it, I think it's probably better with that. Or maybe just a little teeny bit of milk in there. This is actually surprisingly good. I was not expecting it to be that great, honestly, because, you know, I love chocolate, I love coffee, and those are hard things to match. I don't think this would be a replacement for any of those. That it is definitely distinct on its own, but it does offer something similar. If you are somebody who cannot have coffee or cannot have chocolate because it gives you headaches or a stomach ache or something, I don't know if this is going to be the solution, because this does have a stimulant in it. It does have a roasted flavor in there. It might still be a trigger for you, but if you're exploring options, it might be better. It's maybe a little bit milder on the system. I don't know. I've seen some reference to people online doing this because they weren't able to have coffee or chocolate and it was the solution for them, but it still can cause problems depending on you. So yeah, maybe give it a shot, but it depends. I have more though, because I have heard that you can actually not just make a drink out of this, but you can use it to make a chocolate alternative. And I am not going to make it myself, but I am going to buy some. So let's try the chocolate next. All right, I have chocolate. No, I don't. I have laurelate. So I got these from a website, laurelate.com. Not a sponsor, and maybe a good thing, because I'm not sure if I'm going to like these or not. I'm going to give you my totally honest opinion on these, but I have some confidence that these are going to be good just because the drink did taste chocolatey more than it tasted like coffee. This one is just their regular straight up laurelate, which has the California Bay Laurel nuts, maple syrup, corn fiber, coconut oil, lecithin, not sure what that is, and salt in here. And this is the same things, but with dried blueberries, and it's shaped like an adorable bear. And I didn't mention that the regular chocolate that I'm having is shaped like a butterfly. So this little butterfly is going to fly gracefully into my mouth. So the flavor of that is not exactly chocolate. It tastes more like mocha. It tastes like chocolate and coffee. This tastes more like coffee than the drink that I made. And I don't know why. It might be that they roasted this more, but yeah, I'm getting like a mocha taste. But not just that, there's also a distinct peanut butter flavor in there, even though there's no peanuts in it. So it tastes like a little bit like a peanut butter cup mixed with coffee. Yeah. So those are all good flavors in my book. So I say that is actually quite tasty. This would be a satisfying thing, not just for people who can't have chocolate or can't have coffee, but people who cannot have peanuts, I think would also like that. Next up, the Bay Laurel Nut and Dried Blueberry Bear. I've got a problem with this, okay? So if you look at it from your angle, it's adorable little bear. But from my angle right now, I'm getting body horror. This looks like this bear has a blueberry infection. So we're gonna eat it this way. Okay, you ready? Yes. I have made it through about half of this bear, and I think that there's a slight learning curve to it, because my first bite of it, viciously decapitating this bear. It felt a little dry, if I'm going to be honest. The chocolate is a little drier than regular chocolate is, and the blueberries are dried blueberries, and they're not like, there's not a lot of moisture in them. So that first bite, I was just kind of, it was a little dry. My second bite, I let it melt in my mouth. And doing that, great. It's a better experience for the laurelate, and it's a better experience for the dried blueberries in there. And if you talk to anybody who, you know, is serious about chocolate, they will tell you not to chomp into chocolate. I've been chastised for doing that myself by chocolate people. And I think they're right. They're onto something. It's just, you know, if you're raised, you know, biting into Hershey bars, it's kind of like, that's how you roll. But when you have good chocolate, you're meant to let it melt. And with this one, you definitely want to let it melt. And when you do, those blueberries impart a nice little fruity flavor into the chocolate. And that is really, really nice. This chocolate, laurelate, is good. Really, really good. I think that making chocolate with the California Bay Laurel nuts is a great idea. And I don't think it would be that hard to do. Look at some recipes, but I would imagine that you just have to do what I did earlier, roast them in the oven, blend them up, make paste out of it, mix them with other things. In the past, I've made chocolate using, instead of using cocoa butter, using pili nut, which is kind of like an oily nut. You could probably use like cashews or macadamia nuts or something like that if you wanted to completely not use cocoa. But cocoa butter if you can. And then you blend that up, let it firm up, a little sugar, a little bit of like vanilla or something, and I think that's all you need to do. Though honestly, with this, it's got a oiliness already there. So you might be able to do it without using a cocoa butter or cocoa butter alternative to make your chocolates. And if you don't want to make it yourself, you can buy it pre-made at laurelate.com. Which, they're not a sponsor, again, but they do make a quality product, even though the bear kind of creeps me out a little bit. The California Bay Laurel tree. I know I keep saying it, but it's interesting, damn it. It's a really, really interesting tree. I mean, you can use the leaves as a bay leaf. You can use the seeds to make chocolates and coffee. You can use the fruit to make guacamole. Actually, don't use it to make guacamole. That wasn't very good, but maybe you can make it good. Maybe you can. Maybe I screwed it up, which is very likely. But either way, there's a lot that can be done with this tree, and it is super, super interesting. It is a native plant to North America, and it might be growing in your backyard. So if you come across this one, definitely stop to check it out. I have been trying to find the fruit of this for a very, very long time. Over the years, I've probably been sent the seeds like 5 or 6 times people can keep sending me the seeds saying, you gotta review this, you gotta review this. And there's a channel about fruit, so I needed to find the fruit. And finally, Rain Dance Seeds managed to get me some in time. So I am very appreciative for that. And someone down the line sent me the leaves too, and it wasn't Rain Dance Seeds. I forget who it was. But thank you everybody who has sent me California Bay Laurel things over the years and has encouraged me to make a video about it. Here's the video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time. I would like to give a very big thank you to Smarter Every Day, Bill T, Joseph McCorkle, and new ones, Allison and Clara. They are mega patrons over on patreon.com. For anyone out there who's interested in learning more about how you can help the channel, but also get some stuff in return, for instance, you can get early access to videos. You get to see them up to a week before everybody else. You can do that. So information about all that stuff is down in the description below. Thanks so much.